German soldier remembers World War II. Memoirs of World War II, part 15. Okay. So I'm actually, I don't know, I look forward to this one because I want to see the POV of a German soldier
Yeah.
because we watched, what's it called, the falling of World War II, and it was outrageous. So yeah, I want to see the POV of a soldier that actually experienced it. So yeah, before we go into the video, guys, smash the subscribe button and let's just get right into the video.
Yes, sir.
My name is Gert Friedrich Franz Schmitz. And I remember on September the 1st, 1939,
Wait, how old is he?
was on the radio
probably
telling
over
the
80.
war started. Since 5
Yeah,
o'clock this morning,
1939. Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. That means would have been
90 years
like
old.
would have been a youth before he even went to the.
Yeah, like 90s.
our troops marching into Poland,
Damn.
war started.
I was already.
Since 5 o'clock this morning, our troops marching into Poland, doing whatever they do best. 6 months later,
The fact is, some of these soldiers here, they might not even like. I feel like 70% of them might not even want that thing to happen.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But you know, that's what you signed up for, I guess. But guys, I'm curious. What started like what provoked Germany to invade Poland? I didn't get that in the video I watched.
Hitler marched into the France. The British came and the Americans came into the war. And I talked to my grandpa, and he told me, he said, if they want to win the war, it don't look too good. He said, don't say that, Grandpa. We cannot lose the war. That was not even remotely in my mind that we ever could lose a war, because we were so conditioned politically.
Wait,
Hitler
but his English is actually fluent though, because
controlled the newspapers, they controlled the radio.
Just that.
Goebbels, the propaganda minister, he controlled everything else. And we listened to the news, and they told us all about going on the Western Front and how successful they are and all that. Then we walked outside and we heard the guns. You say, well, that is too close for what they tell us where they're supposed to be.
Okay, the media, what the media told the soldiers were completely different.
I wonder how many of those ones will still be alive till today.
So,
Following their defeat in the First World War, Germany was reeling from the harsh conditions of a peace treaty that left the country shamed and buried in economic crisis.
wait, guys, are all this footage is like real life or just from a movie or something?
But in 1933, when a radical new leader rose to power, promising to restore Germany and place it at the forefront of world powers, the people were captivated. Adolf
That is
Hitler's
how
reign
it's
brought swift economic relief, and the German military was quickly on the rise. But his radical political party enforced totalitarianism over the government and the public, making Nazism synonymous with the German way of life.
They had everything organized. You couldn't get lost or fall through the cracks. There were no cracks. You were part of it if you liked it or not. I got drafted into the Hitler Youth when I was 10 years old.
10 years.
Wow.
They gave us a uniform and all that,
What is 10 year? Oh my.
It didn't even have a life at all. though.
Life, I saw it. He didn't have like a youth.
Like thousands of other German boys, Gert Schmitz was swept up in the Hitler Youth. But the draft was not without its benefits. Upon graduation, Gert was offered the opportunity to fly with the Luftwaffe.
10 years.
They said, do you want to go to a jet pilot training school?
A 10-year-old person.
In Fulda, Germany. And you go over there and you start training for flying Messerschmitt 262 jets.
God damn.
He says, shoot, yeah.
But before he would reach the airfield, the Allied bombing campaign would reach it first.
And when I got up there, the hangars were bombed, the runways were bombed, the airplanes were bombed. And there was nothing left for us to do. And they said, well, we'll temporarily assign you to a paratrooper outfit and send you to the Western Front. So we got on the train that afternoon. We ended up in Pazovar. We talked to the people, the local people there. They heard on the news that the Russians had just come from the south, from the east and south, and cut off that air.
Okay, that was Soviets.
And that was bad news.
Gert may have escaped capture by the Russians, But now he was headed to the Western Front, where the British and Americans were on the advance, and the German army was in disarray.
I'm sorry, like the Germans were fighting British armies and the
That was
Americans.
chaos.
Yeah.
whole
The Americans
Germ-
supported the British army. Like they didn't really want to get involved, but when I think the president changed at that time for America, then that was when he started supplying UK
The
food.
armed
and all that.
forces was in total chaos. We didn't know where they were. I don't know where the headquarters were. You didn't know where the real front was or anything. You know, you were so busy surviving and fighting. We either won here or we lost over there, and then go to the next. We don't know the overall picture. We have no
Are
idea.
these footages real, guys?
And then we finally marched into Holland. The street was open between the town and the woods where the forest where we were supposed to go into. And it was kind of exposed, you know. And the Allies always flew 8 fighter planes roaming in the sky. They had total sky superiority. And we had to get across that open space, and those guys were flying around there saying, if you go in the column over there, they're serious and they're going to mow us down. So, but if you go one guy every 100 feet, they may not even pay attention to us. So it came my time to go across, and the guy paid attention to me.
Oh my God.
And he came and started shooting at me. And I went into that deep ditch. And as soon as he went past me, I got out and run down toward the woods. And when I came the other way, I jumped back in the ditch. And finally got wise. Instead of going across, he came down alongside the ditch and just unloaded. Bullets flying behind me and in front of me. I mean, there was bullets flying every way.
Wow. Wait, and they didn't get hit.
I swear.
Oh my God.
So these things we see in movies might be true as well. Like,
Yeah, the way, yeah.
So he got up and I ran, and I didn't go back in this. I went all the way into the woods. Yeah, that was kind of nasty. But I hate Mustangs to this day.
What's Mustangs?
The PTSD, man.
We were in Ramsdorf. That was my buddy and I. We were up at one end of town, and we had a bazooka.
I wonder if his friend survived the war as well.
The tank came down the street, and they started shooting.
What?
Wow.
And we went behind those big logs there, you know, and they couldn't hit us there. He pulled that trigger, and when he hit it, woof,
Wow.
he got that warhead right between the tracks in the body. And he just blew the hell out of it, the inside. Nothing moved anymore after that.
God damn.
There was another thing that was up the street, and we standing in there kind of looking down the street, see what we could do. And they said, I'm going to go on the other side of the street, because it was curved a little bit, he could see better. They said, don't go over there, that tank is up there. And while I was in the middle of the street, that tank shot one round right between his legs.
I should have listened.
I went over there and got him. The shrapnel went into his uniform and ripped his chest open.
Oh.
And he was sitting with his butt in the street, and he said, and then he collapsed.
That was his best friend. Not best friend, but his body.
When we marched into Ramsdorf first earlier, the company commanders told us, they say, you go point to make sure everything is all right. And way later on, after we were supposed to move out, they said, man, we probably won't point again, you know, if we the first one on it. And the company commander said, you're the rear guard. So they said, no, you don't want to be on the rear on the way out. You want to be front. But anyway, there was an open field, and they wanted to march into the woods. And what we were way behind is a rear guard. They walked into a trap.
Oh.
The Americans already were on 3 sides.
Wow.
And they waited till the whole battalion marched in there, and they mowed them down.
How did this guy survive too?
This is guns.
So the 4 of us, we went off to the right into the woods and disappeared in the woods. And that's how we ended up behind enemy lines.
Wow.
Gert and his 3 comrades were on their own, disoriented and desperately searching for ever elusive friendly territory.
And then when we finally got into Dulman, it was daylight, and there was a 6-foot fence, a chain link fence. They said, well, that must be a park. Nobody is fighting in the park, so we're going to be pretty safe. So we got over and climbed over that 6-foot fence. GIs walking all over the place there.
GIs.
And they saw us and they started shooting at us.
The war is crazy.
They had a 12.5 truck with machine guns on there. They came around and started shooting at us with that. And then we said, we got to get out of this park. So we jumped over the fence. Then there was tanks on the outside. They said, that ain't not safe either. Let's jump back in the fence. We jumped back over that 6-foot fence. And then that truck came and started shooting at us. We went back over the fence again and went in the other direction. And we saw a pine forest over there. And they said, let's get into that forest and get the heck out of here. And we crawled on our stomach. And we finally got into the woods and they came after us. And they said, well, let's hide behind the trees till they go. And if they don't see us, they might go away. And they came and I stood behind that tree. You know, we all stood behind each one of those trees. They're just big enough to hide us. And I said, what I'm going to do, you know, so we can't run. They're going to start shooting us. And I finally, I put my hand out and waved, you know, and said, hi. And they said, come on out, you know, hands up, hands up. And that's how we got captured.
Now in American custody, intended for relocation to a POW camp in the United States, Gert began the long journey across Europe. From prison camp to prison camp, he passed the time by drawing pictures to document his experiences.
Oh, wow.
Damn.
But before Gert would reach the French coast, Germany surrendered, the war came to an end, and the prisoners were sent back to their homes. The Germany Gert returned to was very different than he remembered. Hitler was gone, the Nazi Party dissolved, and Gert himself had acquired a fresh perspective.
I didn't realize how bad it was, but then after the war, everything came democratic, you know, and peaceful. And I said, wait a minute,
It was just programmed
that's
to
a
be
hell of a lot
different.
different than what we went through all that, you know. I didn't know about the full extent of the concentration camp because that was kept so well secret, you know, that we heard about it, you know, but they said that's where murderers go in and wife beaters, you know, and they rehabilitate, supposed to be rehabilitated, but they didn't do that. And I didn't know the full extent till I came to the United States.
Following the war, Gert immigrated to the U.S., served with the Army, and went on to a career in aerospace engineering, working alongside Werner von Braun. Gert served his country honorably in the Second World War, but like all of those who survived, regardless of what side, he hopes to one day live in a world free of violent conflict.
War is the stupidest thing that man invented. If you can't talk it out, if you cannot communicate, you start fighting.
And the fact that it's the people that call, like, let's start a war, they're not even
the ones, yeah.
Do away with your problem. You have to annihilate your problem. But that is not the solution. Yeah, that just create more problem. Don't fight. Talk it out. There got to be a solution. There is always a solution.
Hey everyone, I'm Josh from Memoirs of
Wow.
Damn, that was so educative. Honestly, like, you know, getting like the organic.
Yeah, from there, someone that actually lived it.
Yeah. Oh my god, I actually feel bad for the man though. Like, I wonder how many sleepless nights he would have had.
Yeah.
Like, might probably still.
Get PTSD. From
Yeah,
it.
at times.
Little things will just trigger.
I swear. Imagine all those plane thing bullets aiming at you.
Even his friend,
I said his chest go open.
Anyways, guys, that's German soldier remembers World War II, memoirs of World War II. I hope you guys enjoyed this show. Tell us what things to react to, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Peace.